Welcome to PDFLiner Easy Guides. In this video, we are going to show you how to fill out Form 941 using PDFLiner. First of all, check out the IRS instructions on their website. Form 941, or Employer's Quarterly Federal Tax Return. Use it to report income taxes, Social Security tax, or Medicare tax withheld from your employees' paychecks, or to pay your portion of Social Security or Medicare tax. Fill out and file the form by the last day of the month following the end of each quarter. For example, this year the deadlines are the following: May 1st, July 31st, October 31st, and January 31st, 2024. Follow the link in the description and open your fillable 941 by clicking the Fill this form button. So, start with choosing the needed quarter. In this case, we choose the first one. Next, enter your information, such as your employer ID number, name that you used to obtain your EIN, for example, Samantha Smith, and trade name if it's different from your name, and your business address. Once this is done, move to Part 1 and enter the number of your employees, full-time, part-time, or seasonal, on line 1. Here you should take into account all employees that receive wages during this quarter only. But don't count contractors, farm workers, or household employees. In this example, it's a small business with 3 employees. Calculate and enter on line 2 the total wages, tips, and other compensations that you paid to your employees during the period. In this case, all employees received $50,000 in total during this quarter. After that, enter the total amount of federal taxes withheld from your employees' paychecks. This amount will depend on the tax information that your employees enter on their W-4. You can find it in your payroll system. In our example, the total amount of taxes is $12,500. Now, if no wages of your employees are subject to Social Security or Medicare taxes, check the box on line 4 and move straight to line 6. But for most cases, you would need to fill lines 5A to 5F. In 2023, the Social Security wage base is $160,200, so if any of your employees earn more than the wage base, the amount on line 5A will be different from the amount on line 2. In this case, we enter the same amount on line 5A because the wages do not exceed the wage base. If in 2023 you paid any qualified sick leave wages and qualified family leave wages for leave taken after March 21st, 2020 and before April 1st, 2021, report them here. These are not subject to the employer's share of Social Security tax, therefore the tax rate on these wages is 6.2%. In our case, we leave this blank as they do not apply in most cases. If your business is tip-free, as in this case, leave the line 5B blank. There are no limits for Medicare taxes, so copy the amount from line 2 to line 5C. If any of your employees make more than $200,000 for the year, enter their wages on line 5D. In this case, we leave this blank as well. Now, we would need to calculate the taxes using the tax rates on the form. So we multiply $50,000 from line 5A by 0.124 and get 6,200, and then multiply amount from line 5C by 0.029 and get 1,450. Next, we add up everything from column 2 and enter the total in box 5E. Here it's 7,650. In most cases, you would skip the line 5F and move straight to the line 6. add lines 3, 5E and 5F and enter the total tax amount before adjustments on line 6. Here we get 20,150. If there were any tax adjustments, enter them on lines 7 to 9. If there were any negative adjustments, enter them with a minus sign. Usually, you would enter an adjustment for fractions of cents here, because most of payroll systems are rounding the amount of taxes paid. In our case, we enter 2.30 cents of adjustments on line 7 due to the rounding. If the sick leave wages are paid to your employees by the third-party insurance company, report the negative adjustments on line 8. And if you didn't collect taxes for tips or group term life insurance yet, enter the negative amount on line 9. Once you added all the adjustments, calculate total taxes after adjustments by combining lines 6 through 9. In this case, it's 20,152 and 30 cents. On lines 11, you would need to report and calculate any credits that you qualify for. If your business is qualified for tax credit for increasing research activities, enter the amount of credit on line 11A. You can find out if you qualify by reading the instructions to Form 8974. If you have a non-refundable credit for a qualified sick or family leaves taken before April 1st, 2021, enter it on line B. Line 11C is reserved for future use. Simply leave lines like this blank. On the second page, we should enter the name and EIN again so that the IRS won't lose our information. If you have a non-refundable credit for a qualified sick or family leaves taken after March 31st, 2021 and before October 1st, 2021, report it on line 11D. Calculate the total amount of credits and enter it on line 11G. Here we have no credits, so we just leave them all blank. Subtract your total credits line 11G from your total taxes after adjustments on line 10 and type that amount on line 12. In this case, we simply copy the amount from line 10. On line 13A, you should indicate the amount of taxes you deposited during the quarter. Next, specify if you have a refundable portion of credits on lines 13C and 13E, and calculate the total amount on line 13G. In our case, we just copy the amount from line 13A. In the perfect case, it should be the same as the amount on line 12, but you might have an underpayment or an overpayment. If you have an underpayment, you should report it on line 14 and pay the difference using the payment voucher at the end of the form. If you have an overpayment, write the amount on line 15 and specify if you want the IRS to apply it to the next return or to send it as a refund. In our case, we overpaid $10 and will apply them to the next return. Once you calculated your taxes, move to Part 2 to provide information about your deposit schedule and tax liability. So basically, here you should specify whether you are a monthly or a semi-weekly depositor. You would be a monthly scheduled depositor if the total taxes on Form 941, line 12, for the 4 quarters in your look-back period were $50,000 or less. And if the total taxes for the previous period were more than $50,000 for the 4 quarters, you are a semi-weekly depositor. In this case, this business is a semi-weekly depositor, so we check the appropriate box. This means that we also would need to complete a Schedule B of Form 941 and attach it to this form. But if you are a monthly depositor, you would need to write an exact amount of taxes you deposited during the last 3 months and calculate the total. The total should match line 12. If it doesn't, recheck your calculations. Now we move to the third page. And again, we enter our name and EIN first. Use part 3 if you need to specify some details about your business. For example, if your business has closed or if you are a seasonal employer, check the appropriate box. Read the lines and report everything that applies to you. In our case, nothing applies, so we leave them all blank. In part 4, let the IRS know if you want them to contact the third-party designee, your tax preparer for instance. If you do, they need to enter the information and PIN in here. In this case, the business owner Samantha filled out the form herself, so there is no need to involve a third party. Next, you would need to sign and date the form, as well as provide your name, title, and contact phone number in part 5. If you hired someone to prepare this form, they must fill out and sign the last block. At the end of Form 941, you can find payment vouchers that you can use to pay your balance due from the line 14. But most businesses are required to submit payments electronically. Once you have completed your 941, double-check the information and click the Run button to save, print, or share the form. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel. Using PDFLiner, you can also edit, sign, convert, and share any PDF documents, save lots of time, and have unlimited access to thousands of fillable forms. Learn more at pdfliner.com.